Hey guys, thanks for stopping by for episode 3 of Mountain Medium. Today I have Jacqueline with me, and Jacqueline's a repeat client. So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. Jacqueline, you've agreed to appear on video. Absolutely. Thank you so much for stepping forward today. I can't wait to see what happens. So Jacqueline and I were actually just having a conversation, and I want you to repeat what you've told me. I'm seeing a repeat client today, and what I want people to understand is that just because someone comes back through my door a year, 2 years, 6 months down the road, doesn't mean that Spirit isn't going to show me something new. So Jacqueline, I want you to tell me what you just finished telling me. This is so amazing.
When I saw you in June, my mother came through, and she said to expect something really big surprise in October.
Yeah.
And then she went like this.
Yeah.
And now I'm engaged.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Good job, Mom. Good job.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah, really. Congratulations. And look, I don't know if you guys can catch this, but all the hairs on my arms start to stand up as Spirit gets closer and closer. So congratulations on your engagement. That's so exciting. Mom knew and she told.
And Mom never could keep a secret.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So here's the deal. We have about half an hour of recording time. I'm going to send you a link to be able to have that recording forever, and it will go up onto my YouTube stage forever and a day.
Oh, good.
So when I work with people that I've worked before, I always ask Spirit to show me something new. This is for the sake of doing two things. One, to again validate. Well, I have nothing to prove. I always want people to walk away with the best possible experience, right? So I ask them to show me new things. And the other thing that I really like to own in this space is, you know, when I work with Spirit, I experience all of the information at once. You've seen me do the dance before. I always joke that playing with the dead's like building a puzzle, right? That sometimes some of the pieces don't fit. So as I was sitting here, and I'm really transparent when I do my work, you guys. So if there's something that comes up that I remember from a previous session, I clear it out right away and say, oh yeah, I remember. It's just because I like to be completely transparent when I do the work. So here's what happened before you even got here. I don't know why your mom would show me rent, but she handed me the word rent. So are you looking at renting a new space? Is there a rental? I don't understand what this is, but she went rent. Oh, okay. Here's another thing. So as I expanded on that with Spirit, I got this musical space. There's a musical out there called Rent. And they're singing and joys. So are you going anything theatrical over the next little while? Going to see a play? Going to see, like, have you incorporated more music in your world? It was fascinating that they hand me the word rent and then just leave it at a dead-end trail. So these are always the things that I say might not make sense in this moment. Yeah. That it may come through and clear. That Mom could be handing another surprise down the road. I don't know. Okay. And so how do you connect with the month of January? Birthdays, anniversaries, significant occasions of those living or crossed over.
January. My late son-in-law had a birthday in January.
Perfect. So I've got your late son-in-law here. I always say that when I get, I never know how these things are going to go down. I got your late son-in-law to step forward this way by acknowledging his birthday. Whenever I get birthdays of those in spirit world, I know that we have rituals surrounding honoring those that have gone on. That means that we're still saying happy birthday to the soul that's gone on, and he wants to say thank you. Now, who's the soul that's cremated?
My dad.
Perfect. So this is just to let you know that your son...
Also, my fiance's late wife.
Okay, perfect. So we'll figure out who this belongs to, but I kind of feel like this is your dad stepping forward so that your son-in-law acknowledges that they're together.
Oh, good.
I always tell people, look, whether we have a situation here on this planet that we never had a chance to meet, that whenever loved ones that are part of our family unit return home, they're always joined together. Okay? And listen, who's Chris? So...
My grandson, my late son-in-law's son.
Son. Perfect. So for me, I always say, look, Spirit's going to show me things that I can't possibly know.
You're right.
And it's for the sake of validating that I really have them here, that I really do what I do, that I'm not full of shit when I do it, and that I have them here. And I always believe that when loved ones give me names of those who are in the physical world, it means that the person that I'm sitting with actually is still doing things to instill the memories and to instill the stories and really stepping in from a protective space to honor and nurture the soul that's been wounded through the space of loss. So this is your son-in-law's way of stepping forward. And what I love with your son-in-law is he made me sit up a little bit taller. That's Spirit's way of acknowledging pride. He couldn't be prouder for the job that you're doing to acknowledge what's happening with his son.
Thanks, Kev. Thanks, Kev.
And so listen, yeah, and where does the impact accident come in? So for me, it's a sudden stop. I don't know if we've talked about your son-in-law before, if this is a recent thing that's occurred, and I'm terribly sorry for the losses.
That was just about a year and a half ago, and no, he died of lung cancer.
Okay, and that's okay. I've got someone here that went through impact accident.
I know.
Okay.
My ex's father.
Perfect. I tell you, you must really have the doors to angels open up, because we've got like 7, 8, 9 people here for you today.
Good. I've been screaming at all of them.
Perfect. Perfect. And so, listen, I always believe that when we have conversations with our loved ones before we get started on sessions like this, it really opens up the door, makes my job super easy. So thank you so much for that. And so, what I would have, and listen, they keep handing me angel statue after angel statue after angel statue after angel statue. So you collect angels too. Mm-hmm. I have this thing where I collect them for every person that I've loved and lost. And so this is what they're using to step forward to say acknowledgement and say thank you for the honor with which they're treated. Now, I've got the words memory book sitting in front of me. So did you make a memory book for your grandson?
Yeah, I've got a memory box for him. I've got a memory box with the stuff from my mom.
Perfect. And so this is their way of acknowledging. I always say they're going to show me things that are happening, things that have happened, and things that I always say that could potentially happen, like an engagement.
Yeah.
Right? Who knew? Who knew? Spirit can be vague at the best of times, but I'm so amazed that it's happened for you. I'm so excited for you.
Me too.
So let's talk about the smoker that's over there. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when I get my smoke signal is that's one of the ways that Spirit will use to communicate. Now, I don't know if we've had those conversations about this before, but I always ask them to bring me new things. What I'm here to tell people is that they're not nuts and they don't require medication, that the things they're experiencing are very, very real, right? And so there's this space where your loved ones would have you know that if you're walking down a hallway, walking into a store, that if you get that smoke smell, that's one of the ways that they use to communicate, okay?
I thought,
Yeah, so I'm here to validate, right? Like I always say that I'm here to show that our loved ones always watch over us, show the things that they may do to get your attention. Now listen, who's the broad-shouldered, strapping man that's over on the other side? Is that your dad, or did he have really big shoulders to cry?
He did.
Okay, perfect. So he wants to step forward and have a conversation. He said, that's my girl. And he gave me this wink. And so for me, I don't know if he ever winked when he said goodbye, but it's one of the mannerisms he's using so that you know that it's him. And what I appreciate about how he's stepping forward is this. He's rolling up his sleeves. So there's a generation of souls that have gone by that wear those like green utility shirts, the snap down buttons and the green pants to go out.
Working, man.
Perfect. So when you think of him, he's asking you to remember him for how he lived and not how he passed. Where does the chest lungs come in with him?
He had congestive heart failure.
Perfect. And so for me, when they show me these things, it's Spirit's way of acknowledging, look, I'm no longer bound by my physical body. I'm at peace. So he's wanting to let you know that I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Mm-hmm. And when we return home, we get to shed how we were while we're here on the planet. This is your dad's way of acknowledging, look, I'm free and clear over there. Do you actually have a big picture of him with a great big smile on his face from the shoulders up? Because it's what he's showing me. So you know how we can set up memorial tables or have an area where it's dedicated to the family that have gone on? This is what he's explaining to me. There's an area in your home like that. And when you look at that photo, that's exactly how he's asking to be remembered. I really believe that when we think of our loved ones or look at things that belong to them or pictures, it swoops their soul in even closer. So listen, your dad's having this conversation about how frustrating your days have been lately. So listen, I tell people I get that I can be vague. Psychics and mediums don't have all the answers, and nor should we ever claim to. But I want you to understand something. I believe he's brought this forward to talk about the type of things that are going on this planet as a whole right now. So we're in a cycle story right now where old cycles or patterns are coming up. And what that's about is shaking the old ways of being, right? Now, your husband's dad or your fiance's dad is over on the other side, right? Mm-hmm. He's stepped forward. How do you connect with the month of August? Birthdays, anniversaries, significant occasions, those living or crossed over?
Lots.
Okay, and where does the stroke or aneurysm come in? So there's a burst that's involved with someone over there too.
It could be him, But it could also be my ex-father-in-law.
Okay, so let's get this sorted. When I think about your fiance's father, I get this kind of hardened, shelled man that stepped forward. And listen, this is what I believe. I believe that when spirit returns home, we get what's known as a life review. That we get to see how maybe things we could have done differently or should have done differently. And I don't mean this to be cruel, never my intention to hurt or harm, but he threw a bottle in front of my face, so he must have been a bit of a drinker while he was here, or is that the father?
That's the father-in-law. That's the father-in-law.
Good job, spirit.
Yeah.
Right? So listen, this is their way of acknowledging that they're all there together. Because despite situations that you've been handed in life, whether you talk to people or don't talk to people after you've had relationships end, there's always sort of a little soft spot in your heart that keeps people near and dear, right? So for me, for you, they're bringing forward this space that you have tended to in the past, what I call the people that still have very raw wounds, right? So you do a lot of coaching and cheerleading, and where does the gastrointestinal distress come from a soul over on the other side who had stomach issues?
Mostly Dad.
Okay, so we're going to bounce back and forth and play badminton this morning.
Yes, yeah.
And so for me, I always go where spirit wants me to go. Your dad's not done talking yet.
Okay.
So I'm just going to let them go. I kind of feel like I wonder if Spirit's just doing a screen capture of the souls that are over there. That Dad's quickly wanted to pop in to talk about the space of you, and I'm talking about your father-in-law and the soon-to-be father. That's,
yeah.
Whether they're in or not, they're still going to be father-in-laws. Complicated spirit stories. Awesome. And so there's this space where, oh, I love this. Your dad just put a little gift box down in front of me and put it over. So are you in the habit of buying yourself gifts from your parents still? Or you do things? Okay, perfect. So this is an acknowledgement from your dad that he sees the things that you still do for you on their behalf. And it's his way of saying thank you, right? That I really believe that one of the best ways that we can honor those that have gone on is almost pretend like they're still here, because really they are, just in different form.
Yeah, to me they are still here.
Yeah, perfect. And so he wants that acknowledged that when you participate in these things, you're breathing life back into him. Now, your dad started to run. And for me, that's a symbol that we've got our legs back and we're in full mobility, okay? Like, if you think of them now these days, I really believe that we're asked to speak of loved ones going on for how they lived and not how they passed. And for me, this is just a great big hooray from over on the other side saying, this is what you're doing for us. And we couldn't be more thankful. Your mom, she quietly stepped forward and she said, I have something to say too, you know. And I said, don't worry, Mom, we'll get to you. It's just Dad had a bit of what I would call bravado or I'm here presence to him. And he wants to address, because he keeps going, my girl, my girl, my girl, my girl. And for me, that's just a real symbolism and a testament to the relationships. He said it wasn't always that way between the two of you, and it's what he would have acknowledged that one of the greatest gifts that he could have ever had was reestablishing his relationship with you, right? Getting that closest again, because your dad is acknowledging sort of that push away, a little bit of a stick in the mud, and not really wanting, you know, I feel like you get along with animals better than you did humans.
He did, and I do.
Oh, did your dad have a bit of a sense of humor? Because he's wanted to make me laugh, right? So, so for me, I always say that I have this way of breathing life into people, that how they lived here on this planet was how I'm experiencing them over there. And your dad just wants to make you laugh and smile. And for me, he keeps getting this great big grin on his face. And so that's just really acknowledgement. I always say that just like we have fond memories of those that have gone on, our loved ones bring fond memories with them too. And being able to have you in his life and bring a smile to his face was one of the greatest gifts that he could have ever received, because he's explaining to me that his job was to work and not really have a lot of time. And then as he aged and retired, that there was more time that, you know, I believe there comes a point in time in life as we age that we start to get a little bit sentimental. We start to recognize that our time may be drawing near. And sometimes we have the opportunity to realize, oh man, if I don't shift this now, that I'm not going to have the relationship or peace that I need to be able to leave this planet. And you gave your dad peace to leave this planet.
Good.
Okay?
Because I found him after he passed. He'd let me be the one.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And really, this is neat, because he grabbed my hand and he hung on to me and he goes, it's okay. It's okay. So there must have been some level of comfort, even though you found him already passed, that you let him know that you were at peace in some way, shape, or form of his passing. Now he keeps going, go to the light, go to the light. So did you say that with someone as they were passing?
Well, I said it to a few people as they passed.
Okay, great. So I don't know who these people are, who you said go to the light to. Did you say that for your mom? Or did you... Because for me, this is just Spirit's way of stepping forward, that there are more people here to have a conversation with that you helped transition.
I hope so. I hope it
Now, I've got the word friend. So were you with one of your friends or had someone near and dear to you that transitioned over the other side? Or
quite a few.
Okay. Now, where does the Shelley or Shirley come in?
Shelley or Shirley?
Yeah, I'm getting an S-H-E-Y. And I love when Spirit's vague. So if you know someone living or crossed over with that name, what this can be is that sometimes Spirit will... Sometimes you get whole names. You saw Chris. It's like, bing, there's a name right there. Your son-in-law was bright and cheery. And then there are souls that come in and they'll give me little snippets to work off of. So if you know someone, Shelley, Sherry, I have to put this out there. And so what it's about is they're wanting to validate experiences that may be going on. Like, this is a puzzle piece for me. We may not be able to solve this, but I keep seeing S-H-L-Y. And sometimes when I get like Shelley or Shirley, what happens is, and I'm just gonna dance in this for a moment because it's important. Oh, your dad handed me the face of Leslie Nielsen, the actor. And you know that Shirley, you just ... That's what that's about. So there's my comedian over there on the other side. Did your dad like those older, they were like laughing and...
No, not at all.
It's fascinating that he would show that. Otherwise, I have a real comedian over on the other side. So.
Yeah, because no.
Okay. Okay. We'll sit with that. I'm okay with the blank answers and the...
If something may come.
Yeah. And so, your mom, she's like, oh, excuse me, I still haven't got a chance to talk. I'm like, oh, Mom, you're so polite, and I so appreciate this. I'm so sorry I've been neglecting others. Anyways, your mom, how did you connect with the month of June? Birthdays? Oh, you came and saw me in June, but there's something more significant to June. Was that June of last year that you came?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we've had a great length of time, and that's what I really appreciate about doing this work. The Spirit always shows me new things. So June will be a birthday, an angelversary, significant occasion of someone living or crossed over. And I'm not sure if we talked about this last time, but your mom keeps breathing with me, so she wants to talk about her final breath.
Oh, I would like to talk about that too.
So were you there with her?
Yes.
Perfect. She keeps going prayers over my head. So for me, there's an acknowledgement that you said or did things on her behalf to help her leave the earthly plane. Was there music in her room? Because she keeps sending me music notes. Or did you sing to her?
I may have sung to her.
Okay. And where does the heart problem come in? Is that... Your dad had that COPD, right?
Well, congestive heart failure, but we never... That was a final diagnosis after he passed. Okay, so for me, this is your mom letting you know that she's with your dad there. And I always tell people, regardless of the situation, whether they were together or not together, that they get reunited over there. Now, do you have the rings? Because they put 2 rings together for me. So I have Mom's and her grandma, or her mother's.
Okay, perfect. So this is Mom's way of acknowledging that she's there with Grandma too, right? That they have these souls there together. And I love this, what the 2 ladies did for me. And I get that there's generational things that souls of a certain age, time, and place on this planet did. But they sat down at the table and started to have tea together. So when you imagine them, see them together, they're having tea. Now your mom is wanting to explain to you that you noticed a bit of restlessness with her before she passed. So she wants me to calm you down about this because she wants you to understand that it wasn't something that you did to cause the restlessness. I wholeheartedly believe, and I always tell people when my gums are flapping, if something sits well with you, by all means keep it. If not, you're not going to hurt my feelings. But there comes a point in time when people are getting ready to transition that the will kind of kicks in and it's like, oh, I don't want to go. And your mom was always that type of soul to be really nurturing and caring and make sure the kids were all taken care of. And so just so that you understand, she wanted you to know that it was just the last little bit of will kicking and screaming to stay despite the fact that her body couldn't. So nothing that you said or did sort of expedited or preempted her leaving. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Now she's showing me a crescent moon and star. So do you have something that's reminiscent of that? Do you sit underneath the stars?
I do.
Okay. So you sit underneath the stars.
Well, where we live is wide open, so
Yeah.
I try nightly to go out. And it has been a crescent moon lately and all the planets.
So I have this angel that has this saying, perhaps not stars, but rather openings where our loved ones can look down on us. And know that your mom looks down on you and all of your loved ones look down on you from in the skies when you're out there thinking of them.
Well, that's good because I talk to them when I'm out there.
Perfect. I wholeheartedly believe, and I always joke that I have a bunch of people out there talking to air, that I think it's one of the best ways that we can connect and communicate with our loved ones on the other side. So know that they hear you as you're talking. And it's funny because your mom keeps going good night and goodbye. So there's a level of still saying good night to your loved ones while you're out there. And she's showing me willow being braided. So do you know like willow furniture that gets created or willow baskets? Why would she show me the willow tree being braided?
The only thing I can think of is that I have started a company, if you will, for lack of a better word, called Forest Floor Creations.
So does it involve like
things from the floor, the forest?
Goosebumps. Chills right down my spine and my hairs are standing straight up on end again, you guys. And for me, this is amazing validation, right? Like, I really believe that our loved ones watch over us as we're doing these things. Our loved ones can inspire us as we're doing these things. And your mom just wants to validate the venture that you've taken, and you need to keep on creating.
I've been asking her, am I on the right path with this thing? Because it seems like it, it feels like it. It's every time I am not looking, something comes.
Right? And so this is acknowledgement from Spirit. I always say that when they show me things that are going on in people's world, Spirit would validate that for you, right? That Spirit wants to let you know that you're on the right path. Now, have you started flea markets yet? Or going to markets? Because she handed me the word flea markets. So not even, like, you know, there's...
December 5th.
God, Mom, you're good.
She is. Now, if you could help me with my knitting...
She's like, I couldn't do that very well either.
Yeah, she could though. That's just it.
I don't know. I think there's sort of this try space, and your mom had all the patience in the world.
Oh, yeah, she did.
And for you, I have to say that sitting still is not something you do very well.
Nope.
And so there's this space of, it's okay to be patient. If that's not the one thing you can't pick up, don't worry about it.
But I love doing it. I want to do it well.
Your mom just said, get a machine. Like, that takes away half the fun, Mom. You're no fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a good machine. Well, I got a sock loom because I know I'll never make socks, right?
Okay. And you know what your mom did for me? Do you ever remember those mats that were woven out of rags, the rag mats? Do you have one, or are you thinking about constructing one?
Well, I've often wondered if I can do that because my grandfather did that.
Oh, good. So she's like, you know, Grandpa's there too, right? That's showing these woven rugs, right? And you know what? Your mom just said, and this is so funny because this is not like her while she was here in the physical world. She's like, we have a talented family. We really truly do. And it's a very natural, handcrafted talent.
Yes.
Oh, my heart just skipped a beat. And so when my heart skips a beat like that, there's something very spiritually aligned that just came in and wanted to be acknowledged. So you have the capability of putting your fingers in multiple pies and having them work out for you. Mom's like, don't focus on the knitting. That's not your strong point. I'm like, Mom, that's not very nice. And so there's this recognition that she would have you know to really honor that heart space, that you're chasing things that make your soul sing. And the more you do that, like I believe this, our dreams don't have an expiry date. And that if we follow that stirring in our heart, that's like our soul chart, I believe, has something written in. Some of us have a few things written in there, but if we follow what we love and go back to what we used to fall into to bring our heart joy, that's where our magic lies, and that's where the growth and abundance comes too. So for me, there's a real acknowledgement that you're supposed to honor these things. And I bet that if you put your fingers to the type of rug that I'm talking about, you're going to see people catch on. There's a bit of a vintage quality that's going on in people today. Yes. And for me, I'm getting a real hit on the rug. So go ahead and give it a try, because I think you're going to find, it's almost like, sorry, I got, I'm like, you guys slow down. I can't take dictation that fast. Stop it, you guys. Okay. Yes, Donna, we're listening. Okay. And so there's this space where they would have you know to honor these stirrings, right? That it's really important that you continue to honor. Now, she's showing me little crocheted angels. You know how we can start?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if you're planning on making angels in any part of your journey. Maybe just be on the lookout. Your mom could be doing that thing again where she says, oh, something's coming, and this time you could be drawn to an angel. It's like, oh, Donna talked about that. And next thing you know, you've got it in your line of sight. There's something significant to one of those crocheted starched angels. So when you're going December 5th, just watch. You may fall in love with an angel sitting on a table, and your mom would have you know that that's a gift from her. I love this. And she says, but I want her to know that I'm the feathers too. So when you find and it's funny, she's putting piles of feathers down in front of me.
She is, and they're all going in this one earthenware thing in the window, because I know they're from them.
I always say that I'm not immune to the work, and I'm trying to fight back to myself right now, because it just, for me, is that heartfelt space. And sometimes I always say that spirit's perfect, but when I address the human that they were, this is your mom's emotion coming through me, that it's such like a heartfelt space that you would do and collect that. Your mom was a very humble soul when she was here on the planet. So I really believe that when people do things that honor them, and you knew that your feathers were from the loved ones, she's telling me, thank you for that space. I love that. And here's what she did for me. She opened up a dual-sided photo, a folded, so like if we have a round photo and a round photo. I don't know who you have that might be the joined photos together, if that's your mom and dad. Or
that's my two daughters.
Oh, perfect. So for me, this is your mom wanting to acknowledge that she's still watching over those souls.
Well, I hope so. One of them's going through a pretty rough time.
You beat me to the punch.
Sorry.
Cut it out. No, and it's okay. I really believe that she's using this as a step forward to let you know that she's got them. Okay. Now look here's what your mom's telling me. I always tell people that what I have is an advice and advice only from the psychic perspective, but I want you to understand that they're showing me that your daughter is in the last of clearing out her story. And that by February, she's going to be on a clean path. If you understand that.
Yeah, very well.
Okay, because, and listen, you stepped forward and agreed to film this. I get that this is a delicate nature, but I really believe that when Spirit shows me these things, we're meant to talk about them. She's going to clear her story. She's going to clear her path. This is the time where they're wanting you to understand she's going to dig deep, and it's going to click, and she's going to be on a roll. Now, they're showing me a Red Cross symbol. So for me, that's always about nursing or RCA. Who's pursuing that?
My oldest daughter is working in the lab but wants to be a nurse.
Mom, you're good.
Yeah, good.
So for me, this is an acknowledgement or validation from Spirit that your daughter's meant to pursue that path. When they're going like goosebumps too, so it's like when Spirit does that for me too, it's like this is really important that space be honored for your daughter. I always tell people, look, you choose what feels best for you. I always encourage people that you have to do what feels right, but it's a really big path that Spirit would have her honor, and that this is your mom's way of acknowledging that she sees the things that the girls are doing and would want you to know, right? Like I believe when our loved ones pass, they become our guardian angels. She's got you guys. She's got you guys. She handed me a basket and went like this. So like, do you have an old sewing basket of hers?
I don't know. Well, I have a lot of her stuff, but I have a lot of baskets.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Any of them from your mom, or she just showing?
Well, she gave me one way back in the 70s. And every time I look at it, I think, yeah, I should use that more often. Mom gave me that.
Perfect. So this may be her kicking you in the butt to do that, right?
Yes.
Mom.
Yeah.
And even for me, so listen, sometimes I talk too much, but sometimes I like to use myself as lessons for other people. And what they showed me is this an open basket? Or does it have a lid on it?
It has a lid on it.
Because there are things that I used to do called Christmas baskets where you can fill baskets up with pine cones and put lights through them. For me, I'm wondering if she's bringing this through just to get it out there as a further decoration in your house.
Yeah, maybe. I've been collecting pine cones for the last year because I'm baking them in the oven and I'm going to sell them.
Oh!
And one of the things was I didn't know how to display them. She just told me.
Man, oh man, she's good. Awesome. Spirit works in weird and wonderful and amazing ways, and they never cease to astound me. I said the day that I stopped being amazed by the work is the day I should quit. But for me, really strong validation coming in from your mother that if you've been asking them, I'm not sure if I'm chasing the right path, I'm not sure that I'm chasing the right path, she's showing you you're chasing the right path. When our heart lights up, that's the direction we're supposed to go. We're moving into a more authentic space out there, and it's our heart space. We're moving from 3D, which is ego-based, into 5D, which is heart space. Yeah. You're really excavating your soul now, and for me, it's Spirit really validating that you are so on the right path. And what I love is, I believe we're all meant to shine a light, that we're all light workers in our own right, in our own space. But when you do this, there's an element of cheer and joy that goes, and people really connect with you, and somehow you get them to tell their stories. So watch for this, right? Because you're doing a little bit of light work while you're spreading this joy through the things that you're doing, and they would have that acknowledged for you today. Okay. I always joke that they push me behind my back, and then it's like, stop, and I'm like, okay, now you guys stop. You scared me. Okay. I always tell Spirit, look, you guys can't run me through all 12 months of the year because that just takes the validity of my work away. But she's brought me November. So sometimes when I get November, they would have me go over to the number representation, 1111. If you're seeing numbers like that, they're angel numbers. They're ways of letting you know that they're around, so they want that validated for you. The other thing that I'm going to do for you is I want you to have a look at Doreen Virtue's angel number sequences.
I did.
Perfect.
I have it. I printed it.
I must be psychic or something.
Yeah, you must
really
be.
Weird.
Okay. You ought to take this up for a living.
Maybe. And so for me, it's Spirit really validating just how connected you become to the other side. Like, I believe we're all psychic. It's a muscle that needs to be used. But we're all busy reestablishing our own connection with Spirit. So if Adam and Eve really existed, Adam and Eve had a direct line to source, however we choose to call that name, that I like the universe, because it's not really any sex of any sort. It's just an all-encompassing being and beings. But what's happening is they're showing me just how your connection has really become strong, and that when you get the thoughts that come in, I always joke that I'm not as smart as I think I am, that the ideas that I get are inspired by them, but they're wanting to let you know that when thoughts and ideas come to you, that's an inspired space from Spirit. It's called claircognizance, and they would have you know that you're walking in it big time now.
Phew, good.
Yeah, I'm here to tell people they're not nuts. They don't require medication. The things they're experiencing are very real.
I know they're real, but I need to know how to expand on it.
Yeah. And so, I always ask the universe for practice when I'm stepping into something new. I don't know if you've read Doreen Virtue's Angel Therapy Handbook.
No, not.
Okay. It's a really basic book, but it's one I recommend for people that are still opening up their doors some more, because I believe in 20 years I'm not going to have a job. That we're all going to be so connected that we just don't need people like me anymore, but I'm helping people transition up into that space. And so with this book, what this does is it's very basic, but it walks you through the 6 senses and how Spirit will communicate and things to be aware of. So you may read things, oh man, I do that, but it's like it drives it home for you.